Hello everyone, it's the AI programmer back at you once again with another video. This time we're going to be talking about a topic that I feel like is quite important in software engineering. And it has to do with senior engineers and balancing the need to keep upskilling and coding consistently with the sometimes with the I guess what's the word? I guess sometimes there's room for growth, right? As far as moving up to become a tech lead and to be more of a management type of position, which leads to, less coding, less kind of upskilling and more people management and meetings, right? So that's the topic for today. So let's jump right into it. I want to preface this and kind of say that I am a software engineer with about 15 years of experience in tech and web development and IT security. Such as things like vulnerability analysis. I was a very early user on platforms such as Bugcrowd, things like that. So yeah, maybe I'll make a video soon about my background, kind of, and how I got started in all of this. But let's kind of continue. So have you gone? So someone started this Reddit post, so big shout out to them. Have you gone from being a tech lead to a senior again? This person said, I'm thinking of doing this at my next job. I don't really code at all outside of work, and with all of my meetings and architecture diagramming at work, I don't get to code either now. I feel like my skills are atrophying. Wanted to get some thoughts from others who have done this. So someone said, yep, drop from technical. So actually, before we get into the responses, let me just give some of my thoughts. So I have, personal experience with this, not from the tech lead perspective, but from just kind of seeing my own tech leads and kind of how they operate and how they have to, and, even, having personal conversations with them and, hearing complaints about how, there's often a lot of noise, right? Quote unquote, when you have to do meetings and you have to kind of just create diagrams and you have to there's presentations and you have to kind of manage other engineers. There's not really any time for you to kind of just kind of be that guy, right? Technical from a technical standpoint, and just kind of crack out the work and kind of get it done. um there's kind of less time for that. And you can kind of see here, from this sentiment here that was posted just one day ago, this is very true in software engineering, right? Not just from my perspective, but from the perspective of probably many folks who are in this field. And, this is, from my perspective, this is working at the enterprise level. From what I've seen, which correlates to what, this person is saying. But I'm wondering, what level that are they working at? Are they kind of working at more of the startup level, more of the smaller business level, maybe kind of gov tech, stuff like that? I'm just kind of curious, as to more specifically, if this dynamic is kind of like where it actually is in this field, right? So let's kind of jump into some of the responses. But I would say this is very much true across the board. Um, so this person said, yep, dropped from technical architect to senior dev because all I got to do as an architect was make PowerPoint presentations. Sounds about right. Yeah. Architect title, it sounds like that's likely what you'll be doing. Um, so I would say that's something that, not, it's not common sense, but I would say that that's something, that kind of comes with that, having that added to your title, that word architect, as opposed to developer or dev. Uh, so I understand that. Yep, I went from TL back to senior and don't regret a thing. TL has marginally better pay for at least double the stress. It's simply not worth it to me. I would agree with this. I'm not sure how much, how much to boost. I mean, how much of a boost are you getting when, you're being asked oftentimes to go from being a senior engineer to like, hey, do you want to, you want to take over and kind of, be a tech lead? It's usually not like you're not like usually getting a huge boost in salary, like you know what I mean, like something like I want to say like 25%. It's usually lower. I want to say than like 25%. You know what I mean? Maybe even lower than that. That's just me guessing. But yeah, I would say, for double the stress, I would say you need at least double the pay, right? I mean, because going from being just an engineer and having to manage code, right? To having to manage people and then also, deal with kind of I want to say politics. I mean, I'll be quite honest. There's a lot of politics often involved with working at the enterprise level, at least from my experience. And I don't know. I want to say that's probably across the board in a lot of different working at a lot of different levels in this field, right? Whether it be at the startup level, whether it be you maybe not so much contracting, right? Platforms like Upwork. Um, but yeah, it is dealing with politics is always going to be kind of a thing whenever you are, you know, working from that, um, yeah, working from that perspective of just that at that enterprise kind of level, I want to say. So I got into this job. So let's finish this up. I got into this job because I like writing code and fixing problems, and as a senior, I get to do that maximally. So yeah, I would definitely feel that, and yeah, and see, and another thing too that's not often talked about is that, you know, um, like this person said here, that's always been the problem. The math doesn't work. Marginally better pay for way worse role. On top of that, if you haven't coded in 3 years and then get put out on the street, you're in for a bad time. So, job security isn't guaranteed. So if you, take a tech lead position and you've just been managing people for, like this guy said, 3 years or so, and you haven't really coded or upskilled, then you're in for a bad time because this is very competitive, and you have to you're gonna have to do a coding challenge when you go to try and get your next role. Even as a senior engineer, you have to do quite intensive interviews oftentimes. So you have to make sure you stay on top of your game, in this field. Um, so